6 o'clock, Judge.
Okay, the meeting of the hospice. Whoa.
That's all right. She's tardy.
Well, she'll be here. Meeting of the Hot Spring County Court, please come to order at this time. We will have the invocation, the pledge to the flag.
Most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for thy precious Son, Jesus. And Lord, we pray that you'd watch over us tonight and we would make the decisions to be most pleasing to you. We pray you'd lead, guide, and direct us in all our decisions, and these things we ask in Christ's precious name. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much.
You want to appoint someone to... You don't have a clerk.
I know. Yeah, I can appoint them, or I can read y'all. You want to?
She doesn't have anything. You want me to just write it on here?
Oh well, here's the thing about it. Everybody's here except we just Pete is gone, right? Just make a note, Brenda.
Yeah, make a note.
Roll call.
Whoa. We got to have a clerk. I think she's here somewhere.
Let me call down her office.
She's down there at this time.
We got to have someone record our meeting.
Yeah.
We can appoint one of our justices to do that.
Yeah, but we have to have our county clerk.
She's gonna be here. Yeah, there she is.
She's having to do the voting too.
They still do it, but what time do they quit the voting? What time is time to do
that? Till 6.
Pat, I call her Patty here.
From 8 to 6.
We're down to the roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Come on in here, Mr. Attorney.
Not 6 o'clock yet.
Well, that's what this clock said.
You can't believe that clock.
That's high, sweet pea.
I got the atomic clock.
Let's see there, right? Let's see there. He needs to talk to you tonight. 6 o'clock.
Do I miss anything?
No.
Very brave and all that?
Yeah, clerk.
We're down to the roll call.
Go.
Sorry.
I could wait until 6:30.
I don't think he's that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Got constantly airfield problems.
You ready to do roll call? Roll call.
Yeah. Anderson.
Here.
Costin.
Here.
Cranford.
Here.
Hilliard.
Here.
Hodges.
Here.
Massey.
Here.
Smith. Oh, Thornton.
Yes.
Weldon.
Yes, here.
Willis. Yarborough.
Yes. Here.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We welcome all of you here this evening. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be at your Quorum Court this meeting. We thank you all for being here. And we always want to welcome our editor of our daily newspaper here, Rona, over there, for being here. Thank you, Rona, for taking time out to come cover our meeting. And I guess I could say George here covers, I don't know what YouTube does, but I think that it's somewhere a lot of people see it, because I've been getting some compliments that the Quorum Court is playing a different role now than they used to. They said those guys are actually serious about county business, aren't they? And I think that's pretty good what you're doing there, George. Yeah, we appreciate you being here to YouTube. Is that the same thing as Facebook?
No.
Okay. That's all right. You don't. Okay, Bill. Welcome everybody. Could I get some action on the minutes from the last other meetings we had?
I make a motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
Got a motion, second discussion. Roll call.
Anderson.
Yes.
Costin.
Yes.
Cranford.
Here.
Hilliard.
Yes.
Hodges.
Yes.
Massey.
Yes.
Thornton.
Yes.
Weldon.
Yes.
Willis. And Yarborough.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clerk. The first bill is 1414.
I'd like to introduce Bill 14-14. Have the clerk read it, please.
A bill for an ordinance to read as follows. Be it enacted by the Quorum Court of Hot Spring County, Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance to appropriate funds from unappropriated voting system grant fund 3038 to fund 3038 voting system grant fund. Section 1, an ordinance to appropriate $15,212 from unappropriated voting system grant fund 3038 to voting system grant fund 3038 Department 0109, election line item 3600, voting system equipment. Section 2, a check was received from the auditor of the state to assist purchasing voting system equipment, programming, and maintenance. Section 3, it is determined that it is in the best interest of Hot Spring County to approve this ordinance, and it shall be fully effective after passage in accordance with state law.
This got to be passed to the Budget Finance Committee, and I make a motion for adoption.
Second.
Got a motion second on 1414. Discussion? Roll call.
Anderson.
Yes.
Costin.
Yes.
Cranford.
Yes.
Hilliard.
Yes.
Hodges.
Yes.
Massey.
Yes.
Thornton.
Yes.
Weldon.
Yes.
Willis. Yarborough.
Yes.
Next bill, 1415.
Your Honor, I'd like to introduce Bill 1415 and ask the clerk to read it.
A bill for an ordinance to read as follows. Be it enacted by the Quorum Court of Hot Spring County, Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance to abolish funds. Section 1, there is a need to abolish Fund 3508, HUD BTC S+C program grant effective immediately. Section 2, the grant was dropped by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development due to lack of eligible candidates for the program, per Diane Rankin, Housing and Transportation Coordinator for the grant. Section 3, it is determined that it is in the best interest of Hot Spring County to abolish Fund 3508 HUD BTC S+C program grant.
This received a due pass from the committee, and I ask for its adoption.
Second motion.
Okay. Do you remember this? Y'all remember this about the homeless? Okay, discussion.
First Street was good.
Yeah.
It's just abolishing law.
But wait, this is an appropriation. You
Yeah,
can't-
he's right. You
can't
gotta read it
do-
3
you
times
gotta read
before
it
you can
3
pass
times.
it.
Oh, that's true.
You
That's
can't
true.
do.
You need, actually what you need is a motion to suspend the rules and place it on its
It's true. I
second
didn't
reading.
even think about that.
That's what you meant, right?
Yeah, that's
You wanna go ahead and get it done with tonight?
That's what I meant.
That's what she meant.
That's what she meant.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what you meant, okay. Suspend the rule and put it on second reading.
We just
Oh.
misunderstood her.
Yeah, that's what
Understood.
it was.
Okay, then discussion on suspend the rule, put it on second reading by title only.
Title only.
Fortunately, Attorney Costin was keeping up with that.
I mean, he's good.
He is
He's
good.
on it.
Wants to pay attention.
Roll
Being a little
call.
more quieter.
Anderson.
Yes.
Costin.
Yes.
Cranford.
Yes.
Hilliard.
Yes.
Hodges.
Yes.
Massey. Thornton.
Yes.
Weldon.
Yes.
Willis. And Yarborough.
Yes. Okay, I make a motion.
She needs to read it
I'm
first.
sorry, gotta read it by title only.
She
Excuse me, read
gonna,
it
she
so I can
gonna,
move
she
on.
meant to do it, she just getting her papers.
An ordinance to abolish funds.
Okay, now I can speak.
Okay, now then,
All right, I make a motion to suspend the rules and put this on its third reading by title only.
Second motion.
got a second, motion second, put it on title only for third reading. Any discussion? Roll call.
Anderson.
Yes.
Costin.
Yes.
Cranford.
Yes.
Hilliard.
Yes.
Hodges.
Yes.
Massey.
Yes.
Thornton.
Yes.
Weldon.
Yes.
Willis. Yarborough.
Yes.
An ordinance to abolish funds.
Okay, this did receive a due pass from committee, and I make a motion for its adoption.
Second.
Got a second, motion second to adopt the ordinance 1415. Any more discussion? Roll call.
Anderson.
Yes.
Costin.
Yes.
Cranford.
Yes.
Hilliard.
Yes.
Hodges.
Yes.
Massey.
Yes.
Thornton.
Yes.
Weldon.
Yes.
Willis. Yarborough.
Yes.
Next, 1417.
Judge, I'd like to introduce Bill 1417 and ask for the clerk to read it.
A bill for an ordinance to read as follows. Being enacted by the Quorum Court of Hot Spring County, Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance to appropriate funds from unappropriated General Fund 1000 to General Fund 1000 Department 0109 election. Section 1, an ordinance to appropriate $4,109.68 from unappropriated General Fund 1000 to General Fund 1000 Department 0109 election to the following line items. Line item 103, salary election commission, $1,665. Line item 1004, poll workers, $1,992.60. Line item 3020, telephone, $133.08. Line item 3030, travel, $104.50. Line item 3040, advertising, $108.77. Line item 3070, polling place supplies and rent, $105.73. Section 2, a check was received from the city of Rockport for an election. Section 3, it is determined that it is in the best interest of Hot Spring County to approve this ordinance, and it shall be fully effective after passage in accordance with state law.
Judge, this received a due pass in committee, and I move for its adoption.
Second. Got a motion second on 1417, discussion. Roll call.
Anderson.
Yes.
Austin.
Yes.
Cranford.
Yes.
Hilliard.
Yes.
Hodges.
Yes.
Massey.
Yes.
Thornton.
Yes.
Weldon.
Yes.
Willis. And Yarborough.
Yes.
Next is 1418.
Judge, I'd like to introduce Bill 1418 and ask for the clerk to read it.
A bill for an ordinance to read as follows: being enacted by the Quorum Court of Hot Spring County, Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance to appropriate funds from unappropriated General Fund 1000 to General Fund 1000 Department 0400 Sheriff. Section 1, an ordinance to appropriate $1,791.69 from unappropriated General Fund 1000 Department 0400 Sheriff line item 2023 repair parts. Section 2, a check was received from Gallagher Bassett for damages to a 2008 Dodge Charger. Section 3 is determined that it is in the best interest of Hot Spring County to approve this ordinance, and it shall be fully effective after passage in accordance with state law.
Judge, this received a due pass in committee, and I move for its adoption.
Got a motion second. Discussion. Roll call.
Anderson.
Yes.
Costin.
Yes.
Cranford.
Yes.
Hilliard.
Yes.
Hodges.
Yes.
Massey.
Yes.
Thornton.
Yes.
Weldon.
Yes.
Willis. And Yarborough.
Yes.
I'm assuming this next ordinance will take suspension of the rules and put it on to pass it tonight. That's to give some ease on the hiring freeze to hire a couple of positions in the road department. The reason we got it, we have two positions. We had somebody quit week before last. Okay, we'll get it introduced.
Bill, I would like to introduce Bill 14-19 and ask the clerk to read it.
Be it enacted by the Quorum Court of Hot Spring County, Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance to allow the county judge's office to fill 2 full-time positions in the road department. Section 1, an ordinance to allow a county judge's office to fill 2 full-time positions in the road department, 1 position for the east side road department, 1 position for the west side road department. Section 2, ordinance 13-61 to freeze hiring by all Hot Spring County offices until further notice was approved November 13, 2013. An elected official or supervisor may be allowed to hire a new or previous employee upon approval by the Quorum Court. Section 3, it is determined that it is in the best interest of Hot Spring County to approve this ordinance, which shall be effective immediately upon approval by the Quorum Court and in accordance with state law.
I would like to make a motion to suspend the rules and read this a second time by title only.
Second.
Got a motion second. Roll call.
Anderson.
Yes.
Costin.
Yes.
Cranford.
Yes.
Hilliard.
Yes.
Hodges.
Yes.
Massey.
Yes.
Thornton.
Yes.
Weldon.
Yes.
Willis. Yarborough.
Yes. Make a motion to read this for its third and final reading by title only.
But you need
Oh,
to
I'm sorry,
read
you
it
gotta
the
read it
second
again.
time.
Read the-
An
Wait,
ordinance to allow the
Title
county
only.
judge's office to fill 2 full-time positions in the road department.
Now, I'd like to make a motion for its third reading by title only.
Second.
Got a motion second. Roll call.
Anderson.
Yes.
Costin.
Yes.
Cranford.
Yes.
Hilliard.
Yes.
Hodges.
Yes.
Massey.
Yes.
Thornton.
Yes.
Weldon.
Yes.
Willis. And Yarborough.
Yes.
An ordinance to allow the county judge's office to fill 2 full-time positions in the road department.
One more time,
All
Brenda.
right. This did receive a due pass through boards and commissions, and I would like a motion for its adoption.
Second.
Got a motion second to pass the ordinance. Roll call.
Wait, Judge, did you, have they used up their vacation, overtime, comp
Yeah,
time?
yes.
And you're,
One of them has been, one of the vacancies we've had has been, we've had it for.
so there's money in a budget line item to pay them when we do hire them?
Yeah, one of them is just gone that was budgeted for this year, and the other one was We did, he left last year, way last year sometime.
So you could actually maybe do without one? Save that money?
Yeah. But what my plan didn't work. I was hoping to accumulate a little bit right in the peak period. We could just hire us, make an extra.
I can contradict that if you want me to.
I thought maybe you might think about it, but it ain't gonna work now, I don't think. If you save a little here, you're hoping you get to spend a little more over here. But I don't know that it's gonna work out that way.
I won't say that.
Okay. But anyway, these are not new hires, these are positions that you've already allowed us to have, okay? Okay, where are we? Roll call.
Anderson,
Yes.
Costin,
Yes.
Cranford,
Yes.
Hilliard,
Yes.
Hodges,
Yes.
Massey,
Yes.
Thornton,
Yes.
Weldon, Willis, Yarborough.
Yes.
Okay, so now we can post, right? See, this is just the beginning of the process. It takes about, we have a different process in the road department, okay? But anyway.
Sound like you running folks off.
He quit. But see, we have to post, and anybody over there wants to move over here, they can do that. Anybody over here wants to move over there, they can. And then you gotta post for the position over here, over there, and over here. It's just a little procedure we go through. Okay, next is resolution number 1404.
I would like to introduce resolution 14-4 and ask the clerk to read it.
Well, we got a blank in here. Why do we have a blank in here? Well, mine does. Do you get it filled in?
I don't.
You don't have a blank?
16.
What is it?
Number
it needs to
16.
be filled in before we read it.
You're
So we
talking
have to
about
fill it
for
out.
the person?
No,
No, it's
the
not
date.
on the date.
Yeah.
Oh,
For Mr. Spencer.
you mean
We
you
don't
need
have
today's date?
Today's date needs to be.
Today's date, if you're gonna
Whatever.
declare.
Is this what we're doing?
This is, you're declaring the vacancy.
We just need to have a date. I don't need a
Right.
blank in the ordinance.
She needs to fill in her blank and read it when she reads the
Still in
Absolutely.
the, oh, this is May the what, 13th?
13th.
Okay, ready?
Okay.
A resolution declaring a vacancy in the office of Quorum Court, State of Arkansas. Whereas David A. Smith, the duly elected Justice of the Peace, District 5 of the Quorum Court in Hot Spring County, Arkansas, has resigned effective April 30th, 2014. Whereas it is the obligation of the Quorum Court of Hot Spring County, State of Arkansas, to declare that a vacancy has occurred in the office of the Quorum Court, District 5 in Hot Spring County, State of Arkansas, as authorized by Amendment 55 of the Constitution of the State of Arkansas and Arkansas Code annotated 14-1309. Now therefore be it resolved by the Quorum Court of Hot Spring County, State of Arkansas, that a vacancy is declared to exist in the office of the Quorum Court, District 5. Be it further resolved by the Quorum Court of Hot Spring County, State of Arkansas, will meet at the Hot Spring County Courthouse at 6 p.m. on May 13, 2014, for the purpose of declaring the vacancy in the office of the Quorum Court, District 5, and for the filling of said vacancy. Furthermore, be it resolved by the Quorum Court of Hot Spring County, State of Arkansas, that this resolution shall become effective immediately upon its passage and approval.
This did receive a due pass through committee. I ask for its adoption.
Do I get a second?
Second.
Got a motion second to adopt the resolution 14-04. Any discussion? Would you like me to tell you what I'm going to do? I mean, I'll do whatever I need to replace it. However, we have one person, he's been to about 3 or 4 of these meetings, but I don't see him here tonight. And if you pass this tonight, I'm just going to shoot. The only one I got, the first one I got, shoot it to the governor. Tell it and get and send a copy this week.
That's strictly up to the governor of Arkansas to appoint the JP.
Yeah, you're right, James. Yeah, the governor. Yeah, that's right.
The governor appoints him.
That's absolutely right, the governor. And I'll send the name to him.
Right.
Yeah, okay. Isn't that what I said?
Mhm.
All right.
I don't think the Quorum Court should even get involved in who we appoint.
James, you're just declaring the vacancy. That's you need to
Right.
do. Okay. And then I've got one name, and after Madam Clerk gets through, and this is signed into law, and she's satisfied, we'll shoot that name to the governor with this copy of this right here. Okay, then we have a motion and a second, right? Any more discussion? Roll call.
Anderson.
Yes.
Costin.
Yes.
Cranford.
Yes.
Hilliard.
Yes.
Hodges.
Yes.
Massey.
Yes.
Thornton.
Yes.
Weldon.
Yes.
Willis. And Yarborough.
Yes.
Resolution 1407.
I would like to introduce Resolution 14-07 and ask the clerk to read it.
Bid enacted by the Quorum Court of Hot Spring County, Arkansas, a resolution to place national motto, "In God We Trust," on Hot Spring County property. Be it resolved by the Quorum Court of Hot Spring County, Arkansas, that whereas the Hot Spring County Quorum Court recognizes the valuable history of the quote, "In God We Trust," dating back to 1814, when first used in the poem called Defense of Fort McHenry. The quote was later placed to a tune and became part of our national anthem, codified 36 U.S.C. 301, the Star Spangled Banner. Whereas the Hot Spring County Quorum Court recognizes that Congress mandated the inscription of "In God We Trust" be placed on all coins and paper currency. Congress codified "In God We Trust" as the national motto, 36 U.S.C. 302, 2001. Whereas the Hot Spring County Quorum Court recognizes our important historical documents such as the Declaration of Independence, United States Constitution, Arkansas State Constitution, and supporting congressional acts. Whereas the Hot Spring County Quorum Court recognizes and supports the placing and displaying of the national motto, "In God We Trust," on the Hot Spring County property. Whereas the Hot Spring County Quorum Court recognizes that in 1892 the Supreme Court stated that this is a religious nation, Church of the Holy Trinity versus United States, 1892. Whereas the Hot Spring County Quorum Court also supports the display of our national and state documents at the oversight and direction of the county judge, who is the custodian of the county property. Arkansas Code 14-14, 1101. Whereas the Hot Spring County Quorum Court recognizes that this project shall be funded with county money,
Shall not.
Shall not.
Not.
Sorry. Be funded with county money, but through private donations. Now therefore, the Quorum Court of Hot Spring County, Arkansas, is in the best interest of its citizens, approve this resolution and shall be in full force and in effect from and after its passage.
This did get a due pass through committee and ask for its adoption.
Second.
Got a motion second on resolution 1407. Roll call.
Anderson.
Discuss it.
Yeah, we're open for discussion, James.
What do you think about this, attorney?
It's fine. It is a national motto. Just happens to contain the word God in it, but it is the national motto, and there's buku cases that say that you can display the national motto. So I have no problems with it. Obviously, it's a policy decision. This is not really a legal decision.
Well, I don't have no problem with it, but what I'm afraid of is this next generation, it's same as passed by people say to Arkansas, the men in the Black Rose was ruled against it, and it makes a hardship on the counties that's involved, and I'm thinking about in the future. Next week they put a monument out here says, next day someone comes up here and wants to hit the judge up about putting something over here similar to it.
As long as it's the national motto, then that would be
Well,
fine.
that's what I'm saying. How many we're gonna put on the lawn?
I think we
Blue
just
Light
got the one.
Cemetery?
We only have one national motto
No,
now.
this one.
That's not what I'm saying. An organization wants to put one.
Oh, you can play 10 or
If one
15
group wants to
national
put one
mottos.
over here, and another group wants to put one over here.
That's up to the judge. It says in here, the judge
That's up to the judge. I
That's right,
agree.
he's the
That's the way it
custodian.
stands today, though.
I'll bring you another resolution.
It's strict to the judge.
Decide.
If he wants to do it today, he can. If he doesn't want to, he doesn't have to. This don't have no bearing on what I'm saying, where the law is today.
I understand. Your concern is that there'll be multiple displays of the national motto. And you're not too excited about that because you're concerned that perhaps in 20 years somebody will say you can't put that on court property. You have to remove those displays or monuments or rocks in the building or whatever you end up doing with them. And nobody knows what's going to happen, but that certainly could happen.
I think about the time that they take it off the money and everywhere else, I think we'll probably somebody have to take it up. Don's younger than I am, he can come get it.
I'll go.
All right.
Have you had any?
Okay, James, any more statements or questions or discussion? Roll call.
Anderson,
Yes.
Costin,
Yes.
Cranford,
Yes.
Hilliard,
Yes.
Hodges,
Yes.
Massey,
Yes.
Thornton,
Yes.
Weldon,
Yes.
Willis, and Yarborough.
Yes.
Next is 1408, resolution. James, you want to introduce this one?
Chairman, I'd like to introduce resolution 1408, please, read it, by clerk.
A resolution approving an appointment to the HSC Solid Waste Authority Board. Be it resolved by the Quorum Court of Hot Spring County, Arkansas, that whereas a vacancy did occur on the HSC Solid Waste Authority Board, and whereas David E. Jackson at 269 Fig Lane, Bismarck, Arkansas, has been appointed to HSC Solid Waste Authority Board to fill the unexpired term of Mark Bagwell, beginning now and ending November 19, 2016. Whereas the said appointment appears to be in the best interest of Hot Spring County, Arkansas. Now therefore, the Quorum Court of Hot Spring County, Arkansas approves the appointment of David E. Jackson to the HSC Solid Waste Authority Board, and this resolution shall be in full force and in effect from and after its passage.
I make a motion to pass resolution 14-8.
Second.
Got a motion, second on the resolution. Any discussion? Just a word of explanation. In your packet, you will have the letter of resignation by the board member office, past board member that will replace it. Next, 1409.
Well, we got to vote on it.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought,
Is this guy here?
yeah, roll call.
Anderson,
Yes.
Costin,
Yes.
Cranford,
Yes.
Hilliard,
Yes.
Hodges,
Yes.
Massey,
Yes.
Thornton,
Yes.
Weldon,
Yes.
Willis, Yarborough.
Yes.
Now then, 1409.
Chairman, I'd like to ask the clerk to read resolution 1409 entirety.
A resolution approving an appointment to the HSC Solid Waste Authority Board. Be it resolved by the Quorum Court of Hot Spring County, Arkansas, that whereas a vacancy did occur on the HSC Solid Waste Authority Board, and whereas Sharon
She's right there.
Paredes, 90 Ware Road, Arkadelphia, Arkansas, has been appointed to the HSC Solid Waste Authority Board to fill the unexpired term of Kurt Crawford, beginning now and ending November 19, 2015. Whereas the said appointment appears to be in the best interest of Hot Spring County, Arkansas. Now therefore, the Quorum Court of Hot Spring County, Arkansas approves the appointment of Sharon Paredes to the HSC Solid Waste Authority Board, and this resolution shall be in full force and in effect from and after its passage.
Chairman, I'd like to ask the court to vote on 1409, please.
Can I just ask a question? I noticed an Arkadelphia address.
Yeah, that's
Do you
Friendship.
live in Arkadelphia?
It's no,
It's in
Friendship.
Hot Spring County.
It's just an Arkadelphia
Yeah.
post
Address.
office.
Yeah.
It's not. She
Rural
lives in
route.
the district.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, she's in my district.
I know that this can be a hotly contested issue.
Yes.
I don't know why they
I'm
put
being a
Arkadelphia.
lawyer again.
I don't know why
Back
they.
there.
I was about to ask that exact same question.
Okay.
I don't know why they got
I was about to
Arkadelphia on our
explain it.
stuff.
Now I notice she is here because I met her on the way right up. She is here.
Okay, I got a motion, second. Any more discussion? Also in your packet, you have got the letter of resignation from the board member.
Did we get a motion in a second?
James made the motion.
Yeah.
A second.
Yeah.
I thought we had a motion.
Any more discussion? Roll call.
Anderson,
Yes.
Costin,
Yes.
Cranford,
Yes.
Hilliard,
Yes.
Hodges,
Yes.
Massey, Thornton, Weldon, Willis, and Yarborough.
Yes.
Now then, for the sake of the court, yeah,
I just want to make a statement. Go ahead.
I was gonna let you see the three board members gonna be on your solid waste authority.
Three. We just voted on
Aren't
two.
you on there, Mayor? Yeah. Yeah, no, then we got two. See, he's the mayor. He's automatic on it. Stand up so we can see you. There you go.
Stand up tall.
You're doing the best. You're doing the best you can, aren't you, honey? Okay, thank y'all very much.
Uh-huh.
I just want to make a comment that we did not address. There's some more positions open, or one, and we left it to not put so many new members on at the same time. Let things kind of get flow going before we address that other one. He still serve. He can keep serving until we decide to do something.
And I will say that we still have the list that had been turned in as they were turned in, and we received one more today. We'll just put it on the bottom of the list. Okay, any elected officials wishing to appear? Okay, old business. Old business. And at this time, we forgot and left her off earlier on a week or so ago. Our librarian had asked to address the court. And anybody, would you yield your time for her to
Well,
speak?
she's supposed to be on there.
She was at the agenda.
Oh,
She's
okay.
supposed to be on the
Yeah,
agenda.
Okay, she was there. We just left. Okay, Ashley, you got the floor. Then we got another one that wishes to appear.
I apologize to Brenda, she's already heard me talk.
City council last night.
Wait a minute.
I'm here tonight to present the 2013 annual report of the county library as required in the state code. As a courtesy, I have also presented the same report to the city council since we do have a joint partnership agreement. I've passed around a copy of the report, so you have a print copy. In addition to that, I have passed around our summer program calendar for this year. And you should have received a copy in the mail, but if not, you have a copy now. And we'll be starting to distribute those probably next week. So if you want extra copies, I can make sure those are available to you. As I said, this is the 2013 annual report. It comes kind of late in the year because of the way we have to report it to the state library. Our report didn't actually close with them until April 15th. Although this report covers January to December of 2013. And then this report will be on file with the state library, and they in turn report it to the federal government. In 2013, we had a budget of $413,000 with 6 full-time staff and 7 part-time staff. I'll note here that of those 7 part-time staff, we have 3 that work less than 5 hours a week, so they don't add up really to much of a full-time equivalent, even though there's 7 of them. We had 24 volunteers that worked 804 hours last year. We were able to open our doors 2,277 hours, and we were able to cover all 52 weeks of the year for at least 30% of those weeks. So even though we had some storms and bad weather in 2013, we were open at least part of the time every week. And our standard hours are 6 days a week. We're open Monday through Saturday. During 2013, we offered 168 children's programs, 9 young adult programs, and 39 adult programs. The attendance for those programs is as follows: 2,140 children attended, 50 young adults, and 290 adults. We provide access to 2 genealogy databases that we pay for locally. But in addition to those, the state library provides us with 82 databases. I used to could provide you statistics for those 82 databases, and the way the state collects that data has changed, so I no longer have access to those numbers. I didn't provide numbers for the access to the genealogy databases we provide locally, but I can get that information if anyone's interested. We have 18 public access computers for adults and 6 for children. Of those computers, all have internet access and Microsoft Word access or Microsoft Suite the suite of Microsoft Office software access with the exception of one children's computer. And that particular children's computer is only educational games. During 2013, our computers were used almost 13,000 times for an average of 41 minutes per use. We don't currently collect data on our Wi-Fi usage, but I know that it's used a lot and often after our hours. So it's used, the police department tells me that there's people in our parking lot until 2 and 3 in the morning, often using our internet, which we're proud to provide that, and we're still looking for a solution to be able to track that data a little more efficiently. In 2013, we had 63,560 visitors to the library. That's our physical location. We offer a lot of online services, so that doesn't include those. We had over 21,000 registered users of our library. Over 49,000 people accessed our website. We had almost 2,300 users on our Facebook page, which includes 935 likes from our community. In 2013, we circulated almost 83,000 items, which can be broken down as follows. 25,034 items from our audiovisual collection, which includes videos, DVDs, audiobooks, etc. 57,382 items from our print collection, and 505 items from our circulations from our special collections. We also have several items that are used in-house that we can't collect circulation data on, such as our genealogy materials and our newspapers, but we know that they're used on a regular basis. We can break down that circulation of print items to 41,752 adult print items, 12,773 juvenile items, and 2,262 young adult items. As a side note, I'd like to explain what our special collections are. Those include video games, puzzles, games, curriculum kits, media, fishing poles, software, knitting needles, crochet needles, and kilowatt meters. In addition to those standard physical items, we also offer electronic books, ebooks for free, as all of our services are free to the public. We have 1,816 ebooks that circulated almost 6,500 times. We borrowed 740 items from other libraries across the country through a shared lending program. And in turn, we borrowed 154 items. In addition to our physical location, our library has a bookmobile service that serves our regional library system, but the majority of its stops and usage are within our county. It makes approximately 15 stops a month. And in 2013, it had 1,147 visitors and had almost 500 registered users. And that's in addition to the statistics I mentioned for our physical location. The circulation of the bookmobile was 1,535 checkouts for adult print, 1,482 for children print, and 66 checkouts for young adult print, and 152 audiovisual items, for a total circulation of 3,235 items on our bookmobile. In addition to this general report, I would like to mention the success of our annual summer reading program, which is why I went ahead and gave you this year's summer schedule. During 2013, in the months of June and July, we had 332 participants in our reading program, where we provide prizes and incentives to have children read through the summer so that they don't regress in their reading skills when school starts back. Of those 332 participants, 52 turned in their final logs at the end of the summer so we could track how much they read. And with those 52 kids, they had read 2,517 hours during those 2 months. In conjunction with that reading program, we also offer scheduled educational and entertaining activities throughout the summer. Last summer, we offered 57 programs during the summer with a total of 643 participants. I'll note that this year we are offering over 80 summer programs. and we've continued to increase those programs every year. The Maine State Library provides a calculator that calculates the estimated value of our public library. I will say that they don't collect the same statistics as our state library does, so this is a very conservative value. But based on that calculator, the value provided to the public in this county from our library is $1,475,401. So that concludes my annual report. If there's any specific questions you have, I can try to answer them the best I can. This is the data I collected this year, so it's pretty extensive. I had to provide answers to probably over 200 or 300 questions to the state library this year. Questions or comments? All right, thank you. I encourage you to come stop by and yes.
The summer programs that you have, how do you pay for? You said you have 80 events. Is that a lot of volunteers?
We do have some volunteers in the summer. Most of our volunteers are spread their time out through the year. We have a lot of students who volunteer, and then I know in this past year some of our volunteers have been through the workforce program. They volunteered while they were trying to look for a job, and that's how they got credit for their unemployment and things like that. Some of our events are done through volunteers. Some of the events our staff does, and some of them we hire out. We primarily fund our summer reading program through donations. We estimate that it costs about $10 per child for the entire summer of activities.
You have a lot of participants, huh?
We do have a lot of participants, especially for the size of our community and our county, and considering so much of the county is so far from our library. Our space is really limited, so we can't bus kids in, even if we had a bus. And we do a lot of outside programs. I go to schools in the summer. I go to the Boys and Girls Club. So even those kids who can't come to the library still receive library services.
Pretty awesome.
And we have requests every day to bring daycares and full classrooms in for programs. And at this point, I don't have the physical space to serve a program of 200 kids. Our annual magic show we have every year prior to Brookfest, we normally see over 100 kids for that one event. And we can't host it in our meeting room. We have to basically close the library and host it in our lobby. And people have to come and go out of our emergency exit. So it's wonderful that we have that ability. It's kind of sad that sometimes we have to turn people away, but we try our best not to do that. And we do that by limiting, if you look at that program, some of those programs are limited and they have to sign up. While we're not charging them, we require them to sign up because we have such limited space for those activities.
Because of the physical space.
For the physical space.
Sounds like y'all are doing an awesome job. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley.
Do you have a question, Judge?
Yes, I'd like to get a motion from Quorum Corp to accept our librarian's report for this year.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, so I get a second.
Second.
Okay. And any discussion or comments? We want to thank you for taking time to give us that wonderful report. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for the good job you're doing with our library.
Well, I welcome you anytime, and we're always looking for volunteers. June 7th is our annual kickoff carnival, and those statistics aren't actually in this report because we don't have a way to count people. We do it at the park, so people come from all over, all directions. But we estimate we see about 400 kids in the 4 hours we host that carnival, and the library is open that day. So it's all hands on deck and all volunteers I can beg, borrow, and steal. So that's the first weekend that school lets out. So if you want to shoot me an email or call me, I have a spot for you to help us out.
All in favor of accepting the report, say yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Opposed, but no. Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Mr. Abels here from down at Tulip concerning a bill that Hot Spring County owes him. And would anyone yield their time? Okay. All right.
Go ahead.
Mr. Abels, you got the floor.
Thank you, Judge. With respect to the sheriff's office, I'm here tonight to ask for your assistance in collecting some money that's due me on some contract work that I did on Thor, the paddy wagon.
Can you talk in, is that mic working so that everybody can hear you? I don't know that.
Yeah, just talk up over that, Yates is not turned on or something.
There it is now.
It's on.
It is now.
I could tell James couldn't hear.
Okay. I'm here tonight to ask your assistance in collecting some monies that are owed to me by the Sheriff's Department for some contract work that I did on Thor. I think you refer to it as the paddy wagon. And I think y'all have my written statement in your packet. So I'm here to ask your assistance and answer any of your questions you may have.
When did you do the work, Gabe?
Was back in July of 13.
Almost a year, and you still hadn't been paid.
No, sir.
Was there a price given before you started the work?
No, sir. It was agreed between Miss Amy Martin that directed me on the work to continue my work on a time spent basis on the rates that I was charging for doing the hot water work at the jail.
Did the sheriff ever talk to you anytime about the price?
Only in January of this year, when he told me he didn't have any money. The judge was there, excuse me, not the judge, but the sheriff was there. It was the day that the photograph was taken and ran in the local paper. He posed with Chuck Barker. At that time, Chuck Barker took me back to see Sergeant Amy Martin, and that's the day we agreed to do it on the same hourly rates as we had been working for at the jail.
I'd like to refer this issue back to the committee meeting this month, to the budget committee, the finance committee, and I'd like to ask if he has time that the sheriff might come and appear before you and talk to you about this. If he wishes, I can't make him come. Unless there's some comments or discussion at this time.
I don't know if y'all want me to speak or not, but I can tell you exactly what happened.
Hey, Mr. Chair, you're welcome to speak.
Okay. Chuck Barker, Mr. Ames, they're personal friends, and it was agreed to that we would try to get this thing done for $500, and I had a man that would do it for $500, and he said, no, Mr. Ames could do it and do a better job and get it done for maybe even less than that. But the truth is, it's not even finished. It's not been painted, it's rusted, and, $500 and $5,000, there's a heap of difference. I happened to let Chuck Barker go, and I think it made him mad. So he decided to gouge the county, in my opinion. That's the bottom line. There's 5 people that heard this conversation, and I heard it when Chuck and Barker came to me and said, we can get this done cheaper. So I told the other guy not to do it. So he didn't. Mr. Abels did. And then I get a bill for $5,000 when the job's not even finished. So, it's black and white to me. He can either, and I even offered him $2,000 out of the goodness of my heart, because I said, well, okay, would you take $2,000? He said, absolutely not. It's $5,000 or, and I said, well, it's $2,000 or come get your stuff. Take it out. I don't care. Right now, it was just raw metal. So the raw metal had rusted. So it's never been painted, it's never been anything. So the job never was finished. And for us to pay $5,000 to me is ludicrous. I'm sorry.
If I may rebuttal?
Yes, sir, you may rebuttal.
First of all, I'd like to comment on the painting. I asked Sergeant Amy Martin if she wanted me to paint it, and she said, no, we will have the prisoners paint the metal. And as far as the material cost, $500 will not even start to buy the amount of metal that's in that van. I don't know how well versed y'all are on the price of steel, but ever since the Chinese started building the dam over there, the price of steel has continued to rise and is still rising to this day. As far as me taking it back, all I could get for the material would be scrap iron price. And I built that to custom fit the interior of that van. Unless someone's got another van exactly like it, it's not gonna fit anything. It's just carbon steel.
I went even a little one step further. I went down and got Mr. Clever. I think all y'all know him. He does this for a living. He said, Ed, I'll tell you what, I'll do this whole thing for $2,500. He said, I'm probably overpricing it, but I like to overprice it so I can give you a break at the end. And that's a guy that does this for a living. That's a total retail price. And he said he'd come down and would give me a written statement, whatever I wanted. But $5,000 is more than I paid for the paddy wagon. So, I mean, why would I agree to something like that? I never agreed to anything like that. I wouldn't agree to anything like that because that wouldn't be fair to the county or anybody else. That's totally beyond my imagination. Pain or no pain. You know, I mean, whether Amy said that or not, I do not know. Because I don't have Amy here tonight. She is here. Did you say that?
What I told you is when he brought it back to me, was he said it wasn't painted, and I said, that's fine, we'll just have the pictures painted.
Okay.
Amy, what'd you say, huh?
So when he brought it to us, it wasn't painted, and I said, that was fine, I'll just have the pictures
okay.
painted.
So it should have been less. I could have that thing rubber, seal, coated, beyond imagination for $5,000.
Do we have the receipts for material that was used?
Yes, sir, you have itemized receipts.
Yeah, Doc, you got a copy of that, right there in your.
You have a copy of the materials, you have a copy of the time spent. And we had to bring in an extra person. In the beginning, it was one curtain wall. And somehow the design got changed and it was two curtain walls. One to separate the male prisoners from the female prisoners. This required the seating on the first 4 rows of seats to be taken out and reconfigured and put back in there. It also contained a small insignificant gun box. I think that was $35. And we also had to secure the windows. Now, Mr. Chuck Barker and I are not friends. We have never gone fishing, we've never gone to church together. We just know one another from his work at the Dallas County Sheriff's Office.
Is there any more questions to Mr. Abel? Any questions to Mr. Abel from the court? I still would like to refer this to Finance Committee, and if you decide you want to do something about it this month.
We can meet on it.
Do what, Harold?
We can meet on it. If you want us to meet on it.
Okay. You want to meet on it on committee night?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right, that's what I thought you meant. Okay, thank you, Mr. Abel.
Thank you, sir.
You got his address and all, phone number, so we can call him.
Do what?
You got it on it, okay, excuse me.
Okay, you've got all that information in your packet there.
Okay.
Okay. The court members have anything else?
Yes. I called Bill today, I was going to make a resolution tonight or come up with something about the gay marriage situation that's going on. he told me to ask Mr. Ohm here about, is there anything we need to do to, if we so choose, if the court votes not to sell marriage license to the same sex, or?
Well, it just so happens I'm intimately involved in that issue because I represent so many counties. And I will tell you, I'm telling all of my counties. In fact, I called Sandy first thing Monday morning before 8 o'clock in case somebody tried to get a license. My advice to my clients is to not issue marriage license to same-sex partners for a variety of reasons, one of which is the fact that Judge Piazza struck down Amendment 83, which is the definition of a marriage. He struck it down, and it may apply to those 4 counties, but it does not apply to the rest of us. We have circuit judges who may go the other way if challenged, and so I'm telling my clients, and I have about 35 counties out there that I represent, including you guys in Garland. And first of all, even though he struck down Amendment 83 for those counties, it doesn't apply to the rest of us. And even if you do conclude that it does apply to us, there are other statutes out there that define marriage as a relationship between a man and a woman. You have covenant marriage statutes, you have other statutes that make that definition. So even if you took Amendment 83 out, then you still have confusion in regards to what could happen. And then the other thing that I think is important is the fact that our marriage license are gender specific. Everybody's is. Nobody has a gender neutral marriage license. And so I'm telling my people, do not issue a marriage license that you know is wrong on its face. And those licenses will be wrong. And you need to probably get prepared for something that may happen. And then the other thing is that decision's already been appealed to the Supreme Court. Until we get some guidance from the Supreme Court, we do not need to be issuing marriage license, because one of the worst things you could do is give somebody, a couple, a marriage license today that in 6 months to 12 months is declared to be void. Because then they will be making decisions regarding estates, real estate, kids, whatever, thinking they're married, or move off to Alaska thinking they're married, and then it turns out that those marriage licenses are declared to be void. So I will tell you, I have at least 2 counties who have assured me that they're getting ready to be sued. I have told them that that's fine, and that's true here. PERMA will defend this county if it's sued. We're prepared to defend this county if it's sued. In all my other counties, I do not believe that you need to issue marriage license to same-sex couples at this time. And in the Supreme Court of the United States, although they struck down a same-sex marriage issue, they concluded that they did refer that back to the states to make that definition. There were other issues in that case that caused them to strike that down, and so I think that there's a legitimate argument that could be made that the people of this state have concluded that the definition of a marriage would be a man and a woman. And the Supreme Court, I don't know that they will strike that down. Now, whether our Supreme Court does or not, I don't know. But I just think we certainly should not be issuing marriage license under this environment. I will tell you, we had a conference call Saturday of a lot of county clerks and county attorneys. And so I got on that call, and it was almost an hour and a half long. And man, what a way to waste a Saturday afternoon. But I felt like it was important enough for me to do that because of my intimate relationship with everybody. And the general consensus was that most of the counties are not going to do that. I know Carroll County did, and they issued like 15 licenses because they actually have to be open on Saturdays. And now they've reached the conclusion that they're not even going to do it now. They had to call the police to be able to close their office because people were they had people in line waiting to get licenses. I expect Garland County has received several calls warning that, and I got word today that maybe they even issued one. The male partner has a driver's license that identifies them as a male. But now they're on Facebook saying, look, we got one with 2 females, but we'll see what happens with that. But bottom line is, we don't need to issue license, but the Quorum Court really doesn't need to do anything either. It's no longer a policy issue, it's a legal issue that will have to be resolved in the courts. The citizens of Arkansas have expressed their policy. The policy is that we want a relationship between a male and a female. As Amendment 83 passed overwhelmingly. So the policy's already out there. It's just a legal issue, and there's nothing that you can really do to impact that either negatively or positively. So I would suggest that we not do anything. But I will tell you this: during the course of our conversation, you split it up into you have religious ceremonies and you have secular ceremonies, and the general consensus seemed to be by some of the attorneys. Now I don't know that I adopt this, but they said to tell your Quorum Court members, if you're going to do marriages, if this gets struck down, if you're going to do it for one, you got to do it for all. So some of you may decide you no longer want to be doing weddings, if in fact that comes out to be the law. And I'm not taking a position on that issue, whether you're for it or against it, but the bottom line is they seem to think that you cannot do it for one group and not do it for another without violating the Constitution. I've not reached that conclusion, and I will tell you right now, I am not reaching that conclusion. But that was a general consensus. But just I want to give you kind of a heads up that seems to be some of the thought process out there. Now, I think they're saying that you are a government official and you cannot discriminate, and I guess an argument can be made that way. I don't do very many weddings. Maybe some of you churn out weddings daily, but I have the ability to do weddings. I rarely do them. I never charge for them. And I think if I don't charge for them, nobody can tell me what to do. But you do charge? I never charge for a wedding. In fact, if they're going to give me money, I give it right back to them and say, this is my wedding present to you.
$2 all you can charge, isn't it?
I don't know, man. I just don't charge for weddings. I think as long as you don't charge, it's no big deal.
Mr. Colonel. Ladies,
yes.
Hey, I only done it one time. That's free.
Every wedding I've done has been free.
Mr. Colonel, let me ask you about what authority did Judge Piazza, circuit judge, had to strike down Amendment 83, which is because people filed a lawsuit in his court?
Well, actually, you had a lawsuit that was filed that brought in Faulkner County, Washington County, White County, and Pulaski County. They just picked those 4 counties. And what they did is they had people go and apply and then get denied. And then they sued it in Pulaski County because they challenged the constitutional amendment. And Judge Piazza concluded that it violated the equal protection law, that you're treating similarly situated people dissimilarly, which I think an argument could be made that's probably not true. And he also concluded it violated the interstate commerce law because there are some states that recognize those marriages, and when you come to Arkansas for recognition, we're not doing that, and there is this belief that you have to acknowledge what happens in other states. And so he struck it down because of that, and I'm sure that there's a decent argument that can be made that way, but the Supreme Court has actually looked at this issue and said they're going to defer to they turn that back to the states to make that determination, and so he didn't go into that very much. But Dustin McDaniel has already appealed that, and then the attorney representing those counties, just so happens those counties are not in my pool, and so I didn't really know about this thing until it hit, and so none of those 3 counties are in my pool, but once I found out about it, I want everybody to know. I'm telling you, don't do it. And I got multiple calls yesterday, first thing in the morning. I've talked to press multiple times. I've been quoted by Max Brantley. Word's out there. I don't think anybody's issuing licenses, except Pulaski County. I think Pulaski's maybe doing it, but nobody else is. So I'm telling you, don't do it. But you don't need to do anything. That's a long answer to a short question, but it is a complicated issue.
Yes,
it is a complicated issue.
Now you're not talking about the traditional marriage couple.
No, I think heterosexual marriages are fine. Obviously, I got one. I've had it for 35 years.
I think I got a couple scheduled here.
I don't think that you, at this point,
Be careful, Bill.
she doesn't need to issue a license. One, her forms would be wrong, because she does have gender-specific marriage license.
Yeah, that's right.
There's a male, Mr. and Mrs., bride and groom, and so you'd have to have a gender-neutral license. And although that can easily be repaired or fixed, there's just too much up there right now to do.
I better check, be sure nothing's been marked out and filled in, had it?
Well, you might want to be cautious, and you need to be looking at driver's license to make sure you need to do that.
They're pretty good.
To make sure that you're. Because
thank you, Mr. Attorney.
Sure.
Those 4 counties that the suit was filed against, could they have denied the judge's order to do that?
Well, Judge Piazza did not actually order them to issue licenses. He just struck down Amendment 83, and that was the discussion we had. Now, they're asking him for a stay, and they may have already gotten it today. I just haven't heard it. They're asking him to stay his ruling until the Supreme Court can rule on it. And so that was the first thing they were going to do, and then they were going to appeal it to the Supreme Court. And for the rest of us that are not parties, we can take the position, and it's not just take a position, that's what it is. It doesn't really apply to us at this point. Now, when the Supreme Court comes down and says, you got to do it or you don't, then you might as well just suck it up and do whichever way they go, because it basically applies to us. Because if you get sued, you're going to lose. You don't need to be going down that road. But until the Supreme Court rules on it, I'm saying let's just set time. err on the side of caution. Maintain the status quo until you know the status quo is wrong. That's pretty much what I'm telling people.
Wasn't it illegal before we passed it?
Well, do I?
Wasn't it illegal
Yes, there are
before we
state
passed it?
statutes that did not get struck down that define a marriage relationship.
So then how did it really change?
Well, I think what they're saying is that he intended to strike down everything related to same-sex or heterosexual marriages being the only way to go. But they only challenged the constitutional amendment. They did not challenge the statute, the other statutes. Like covenant marriage specifically says, man and a woman. Nobody touched that. I mean, there's several things out there that did not get touched. And that's what I'm saying. Even if you say, okay, throw out Amendment 83, you go back to the way it was in 1850. I mean, you go back to the way it was in 1950 or in 2005 or whatever. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's still up there. It's a lot of confusion. We just need to sit back and see what happens. That's what I'm telling everybody. Don't do anything. And there's a lot of people mad about that because that is an agenda of a certain group. We're not doing it.
Make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor say yes.
Yeah, I've got, not yet. No, I've got a question that has to do, we were talking about this a couple of weeks ago, last regular meeting, and it has to do with the responsibility for collection of fines and things like that, you know. And Judge Williams gave us a section of the law that says the quorum court of each county of the state shall designate a county official, agency, or department which shall be primarily responsible for the collection of fines assessed in the circuit courts of this state. Now, does that also mean the district courts?
Yes.
That applies to that too?
Let me tell you about that. I got a call from Brenda saying, and she sent me that statute, or maybe it's an audit report or something that says we need to do an ordinance designating someone to collect our fines and costs. Garland County, the district court clerk collects the fines and costs for district court, circuit court clerk, or the sheriff collects the fines for circuit court. So I sent Brenda a message back and I actually called her and said, look, who's collecting your fines and costs right now? And then we'll do an ordinance just appointing them. Well, she doesn't know. I mean, nobody knows who's collecting. So I understand now district court's not collecting. I need somebody to tell me who's collecting the fines and costs. Is the sheriff collecting them?
You collect them.
All of them?
Yeah. Everything.
Collects
Everything, but, you know, I don't know how Rockport and Malvern got thrown into it. That's a completely different ballgame. The district, circuit, we're like.
You collect everything. See, in our county, the clerks collect everything. We don't have the sheriff collect hardly anything. He collects the bonds to get people out of jail, but other than that, then he gives that money back to the clerks immediately. We tried to keep our sheriff out of the money collecting business because they're not very good at it. we put it in the hands of our clerks.
Well, what would you recommend us do?
Trying to get out.
I mean, you have a suggestion?
It works great in my district court. I mean, I tell people you need to pay your fines. You go over and pay it right now. They walk down one door and boom, they deliver money. I mean, rather than send them across the street to go get lost between here and the sheriff's office, we take it right on the spot. And I tell you, that works pretty good. Now, circuit court's the same thing. I mean, they go down the hall and pay it. Yeah. I mean, that's what we do. But if you're not equipped or you don't have the software to do it or whatever the case might be, I mean, we have great software and that's how we can do it. I mean, but I will tell you, we collect almost $5 million a year out of district court. That is a money-making venture.
That's probably our software.
That's what it was like before I became a judge. That's what it was. First thing I did was go look for a great software package. Spent some money to get it. It's paid for itself like that. I mean, we get warrants out immediately. People know that we suspend driver's license immediately. Man, we're on top of it.
Would you sign a note so we can go to the bank and borrow some money?
It ain't mine. I just make people pay it. I don't get to keep it.
Was the software that expensive?
It was around $80,000, give or take. Yeah. But now, the state's coming out with. In fact, you guys are part of the pilot program.
Sell a couple more cows.
You guys are part of the pilot program.
They are.
Software that would help.
The software's there. It's free from the state for you guys.
We'll see. There you go.
But you aren't using it. I was told nobody knew who was collecting district court money. So that's why I couldn't do the ordinance until I knew who was collecting it. So you're collecting all of it?
We're taking all of it.
Okay.
Harold had 2 complaints last week because we gave him paper receipts. Our last time we was here.
That's true.
Yeah, well, we give them paper receipt, but it comes off of the printer.
We hand write ours.
Well, we don't handwrite, no. Actually, those receipts have to be numbered, pre-numbered, and all that other stuff. There's a
Seems like it
There's a
wouldn't
million
be a very
things
good
that's gotta
audit
be-
trail if you go to paper, if it's not on something.
It's gotta be pre-numbered receipts, and there's a thousand things you gotta do to comply with all that. We just concluded our sheriff wasn't doing a very good job of it. No offense to you, you may be doing a great job of it, but we ended
Is
up.
there some
letting our
kind of
clerk-
link to, where it's on the internet or something where people can
Yeah,
look and
people,
see
we have
if they
people pay,
have warrants and
we
stuff?
get credit
pay
card
online?
payments, we get online payments, we get the check thing online, debit cards, credit cards.
You know, we're part of a pilot, we can do that for
You are
free.
part of a pilot. I would think you could. You need to talk to Judge Burnett about that. And so the district court. Now circuit, I don't know. I don't know, but you should probably talk to Judge Burnett about that. Huh? This is I think they call it, I don't remember. We're getting ready to go to that in the fall. It's Contrail or some catchy name. Administrative Office of the Court's the one pushing it on everybody. They want everybody to go to, because it's going to create a statewide database. If you get a DWI here, I'll be able to look and see if there's somebody that's a DWI off of my computer screen in Hot Spring County. When this all gets online, I mean, that's the theory. And so it's like, in Garland County, you may pay $500 for a DWI, maybe $1,000 in Miller County, and maybe $1,500 in Fort Smith. So they want to try to get everything kind of local, centralized. And so that's why they're trying to force us to go to that. And I like my own software, but we'll go there. But, talk to Judge Burnett about that. You should. You really should. But to answer your question, see, I'm a lawyer, man. I learned how to talk. The answer to your question is, I'm getting ready to do you an ordinance. I just needed to know who to designate as your collecting agency, and now I know.
He would like to change it too. He'd love to change it.
Let's look into the software.
Get us to change it.
Yeah.
Let's see
I
about the
didn't like my
software
share
first
of
before we go designate
People
somebody.
get lost. People get lost from here to there.
Ralph, we've got two clerks. And lo and behold, both of them were sick at the same time.
I have 15 clerks that work for me.
Well,
I mean,
we have to hand write, and you know how many steps
that's not economic.
district court, circuit court, there's so many steps you gotta go through. We have to hand write every step.
That's the problem I ran into when I became a judge, right there. It just wasn't efficient. And frankly, I like control. I'm a control freak. So, it's just the way I am. If I'm going to be responsible, I want the control. So, anyway, you do need to look at an alternative, I think.
You got some prices on that?
You're popular there.
Harold, you make a motion?
Second.
Y'all would trust me.
Done.